Guys on the O-line wearing those black jerseys. They'll play for both teams here in Tallahassee. And the gold team will be on offense first. So right out of the gate, we get a chance to take a look at James Blackman, now the sophomore, lining up in the shotgun, and the handoff to his running back, Jaquez Patrick, goes absolutely nowhere, dropped for a loss, and we are underway here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I expect to see a DeMarcus Christmas do a whole lot of that coming up this fall. So glad he's back in the garnet and gold. Didn't elect to go on to the NFL. Decided to come back and compete, and so he's going to be a welcome guest on this defensive line.
Something that you can also expect to see a lot of are quarterbacks in the shotgun. Not a whole lot of that under center emphasis like you would used to see here with a more pro-style offense. This Gulf Coast offense, lethal simplicity as it's been described. They're going to try to score and score quickly.
Yeah, right there. You just see another push by that defensive front. Not a lot of open air for those receivers to catch a ball. So Blackman had to pull it down and scramble a little bit, which I expect to see a little of, especially earlier on, because they're still learning this offense. And as they continue to learn, you'll see the
5-yard penalty
that Coach Taggart is so well known for in this offense.
Janarius Robinson bailing out the gold team there, jumping off sides. The defensive end out of Panama City, Florida, made 8 appearances last season, collected 3 tackles. I don't think you're going to see very many tackles of the quarterback. No sacks, so to speak, today.
No, I wouldn't advise it.
No, neither would I. And that ball sails incomplete, intended on the near side for Keith Gavin. So the gold team unable to do anything despite that offsides penalty. Nice job here by that Garnet defense.
Yeah, we talk about, Janarius jumping off sides a little bit. He is one of those players that have kind of gotten an opportunity to bounce back, kind of buried on the depth chart a little bit under the previous regime. This spring has really had a terrific spring. Really, in this new defensive scheme that Harlan Burnett's brought to this team, is really excelling. So I look forward to him really shining, not only today, but throughout the season in the fall.
The man called the Bang Stick back at Michigan State. It'll be interesting to see what he can bring here as Logan Tyler on to punt, and that ball will bound across the 40, maybe to the 39, and we will be back to Tallahassee with the Garnet team on offense in a couple of moments. Well, we told you that Florida State's going to try to go up-tempo. Corey, they went so far up-tempo, they beat us back from break.
Well, we did see a big run by Keelan LeBourne, getting an opportunity to go out there and shine a little bit at that running back, that very deep running back position.
And there on screen, you see Bailey Hockman getting the start as the quarterback today. Saw some time in the spring game last season. He's got a wide-open man. It's Tamorian Terry breaking tackles, diving for the end zone, and just short.
Terry is one of those players that we've seen during the course of this spring that has really excelled in that very small wide receiver corps with so many injuries and guys leaving. He has had an outstanding spring, a big body that does a great job not only stretching it vertical but very tough across the middle. There you see him getting wide and allowing this Florida State offense to move the ball a little bit.
Layburn straight ahead and in, touchdown Garnet.
Great run by Layburn there, just putting his nose down and getting in the end zone. That's what you're looking for, especially down there. It's not real tricky. Just put your nose down, be a hard-nosed runner, and get after it. And that's what he did.
That Garnet team sure got after it, and they got after it in a hurry.
I tell you what, Odell and that group is not going to be happy. Some missed tackles in there on that defense. You just don't want to see that down there. Those are the money plays that you have to have. But Layburn is just a tough guy to bring down, a very stocky runner that runs behind his back.
Ricky Aguayo on for the point after. And it's up and good. Don't blink your eyes, folks. This Seminole offense moves with a purpose, and the Garnet team on the board in a hurry. Impressive stuff here from Bailey Hockman. Before we came back from break, we saw his elusiveness. He threw the ball away, but he avoided trouble pretty well as well.
He did, and I don't think a lot of players or a lot of people have gotten a chance to really see Bailey Hockman. He's the guy that's kind of been forgotten on this depth chart, but a son of a coach, and he's really one of those guys that understands the game of football. He's kind of that dark horse, as you see here on the graphic. And so, you look for that guy to understand the game of football because he has a coach as a father. But there's some other two guys. There's two guys in that other room that aren't going to give it up very easily.
There's DeAndre Francois. Everybody knows that he had that tough injury against Alabama. He's been back. He's been moving. Of course, he's not going to be playing yet today. Not quite physically ready for that, but he's the proven veteran of the group. And James Blackman, we've seen the high upside. He's got those leadership qualities. Addressed the team before the season began last year as a true freshman, and then, wouldn't you know, ended up becoming the signal caller here for I was almost going to say for Florida State. He's on the gold team now, but still for Florida State, and stepped up. So he's got a lot of really good experience. I mean, you're talking about a guy. I was looking at his schedule last year and the year before when he was in high school. On September 23rd last year, he had Bradley Chubb coming off the edge at him. No big deal, right? The year before, he was playing Palm Beach High School. Same day, 1 year. Big difference.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb is going to be a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah. As we mentioned, no kickoffs here. This is Amir Rasul trying to break through a hole on the right side and picking up about 4.
When you look at this Florida State team and you start looking in that backfield and all of the backs that's coming back with Amir Rasul, and you'll see Cam Akers out there, and of course you've already seen Keelan LeBourne. I love that. And then you have Jacques Patrick. Let's not forget about the senior that's in the backfield. It's just, I wouldn't be one of those defensive players that has to see those guys over and over and over again. They're just tough to bring down. They're hard-nosed players.
And there you see James Blackman. Quick throw and a completion out to Deontay Sheffield, the freshman out of Destin, Florida. He was on the scout team last year, and he was a running back last year. Now, new numbers, new positions. He's become a wide receiver and getting involved early here.
And has had some very good plays during the spring. He's really been one of those guys that they asked him to move over. He did it. He's a team guy and has come on and very quietly gone out and made his staked his claim in this receiving corps.
3-star prospect out of Niceville High School, just a couple of hours down the road. Blackman to drop back once again and bottled up for a loss of about 5.
And there's that guy again, Mr. Christmas on the sack. Again, if you look at the long list of defensive tackles that Odell Haggins has had over the years, and DeMarcus Christmas is cut from that same cloth. Just a very tenacious young man. He's now a one-gap player, no more of that two-gap defense. Now he gets the opportunity to play in that one gap and just come off the ball and wreak havoc in the backfield, and that's what you've seen thus far.
Pass intended for Deontay Sheffield once again. And incomplete.
You see Blackman start out a little bit slow right now. They're still trying to, like I said earlier, they're still trying to get their fill of this offense and what's expected of them. You'll see those things start to really straighten out as this scrimmage goes on. He'll make some plays.
And a little screen there to Rasul. Rasul breaking one tackle but can't shake the other. He'll be a yard shy of the first down at the gold 44.
Nothing gets little quarterbacks going like a little short pass, and that's what that pass is. You have a defensive front that's coming. That's just deflating as a defensive lineman to see that screen go flying over your head. It's an easy pass to complete, positive yardage, and it kind of gets those quarterbacks going a little bit.
So, without college football playoff considerations on the line, why not go for it on your own 44 in the first quarter? Handoff here to Rasul, and he barges ahead to pick up the first down.
Very good hard 3-yard run there.
To Kalon Brooks, familiar last name here in Tallahassee, son of Florida State college football and NFL Hall of Famer Derek Brooks, and a guy that's really been catching the eye of this coaching staff. Is that ball a little miscommunication and Blackman had to dive on it, but a guy going back to Brooks that has caught the eye of Willie Taggart and the rest of this coaching staff.
This defense really benefits him because of his speed and his ability to just have a nose for the ball. It's allowed him to progress in this new system. And so I look for big things from him. He's out there making his own claim. He just, I go out to practice and I watched him. He's the last one off the football field. He's out there to just work hard and earn his place here at Florida State University.
That ball intended for Deontay Sheffield, broken up by Hamza Nasruddin, the safety, but a flag comes in. We'll have to wait for the call.
Yeah, we go back and watch this play. You know, I'm a little impartial as a defensive player. Doesn't look like a whole lot there. That ball went up. It's a jump ball at that point. But great job by Nasruddin. The officials bailed him out on that one.
See Coach Woody and Coach Barnett there on that Garnet sideline. You mentioned Coach Hagens earlier, the only member of that Florida State coaching staff from last season that's still here. And hey, when you're 2-0 Dell and a lifelong Seminole, why not?
Yeah, Odell's finally getting his opportunity. He will go into the Florida State Hall of Fame this year. I'm excited for him. It's definitely earned not only what he accomplished on the football field back in that 1985 class, but also what he's been able to do as a coach here. He's a mainstay on that sideline for a long time.
Second down and about 8. Throw here to the near side and a completion to Keith Gavin.
You love to see that, and I know Coach Kelly has worked really hard with those receivers this spring of really coming back to the ball and catching the ball with their hands, not allowing it to get into the body, and that's what you've seen by Keith Gavin right there. He comes back, he bails his quarterback a little bit there because he allows he allows himself to be open, be available to make a play.
Dontavius Jackson. You'll see a lot on defense here. They're going to load that box, and they're going to make it real hard to run. And Rasul got absolutely nothing there.
Yeah, and it's that defensive front, that front seven, those linebackers, just really coming up hard and plugging those gaps.
And if at first you don't succeed, try again. Rasul picking up the first down. Second fourth down conversion here for the Gold team.
Yeah, you see they're trying to get some subs in there. That's the thing about this fast-paced offense. It just doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to substitute, and those guys get tired after that.
Quick pass to Deontay Sheffield, picks up a handful of yards. It'll be second and about 6 here for the Gold team.
Don't expect to see many delay of games on this offense during the course of the year.
No. The Garnet versus Gold spring game tied at 7 with 7:26 left in the first quarter. Garnet on the board first, and then a trick play tied the score up for the Gold side. Just about to get set and get underway once again. Bailey Hockman. See what he can do on his second drive. And a little handoff here to Cam Akers, and Akers will bounce around the near side, and will get shoved out around the 34-yard line.
Cam Akers on the carry.
It's always great to see Cam make plays like that. It's just, not every play is going to be a home run. And so it's just putting your pads down and running behind your pads and getting what you can, getting out of bounds, live to play another game.
3 receivers to the left and a little high snap, and that was blown up almost as soon as it began.
Yeah, that's the thing about this offense. When you don't have good snaps, it's hard to keep the timing going, and all of those handoffs are timing issues that you have to have. And we've seen a couple bad snaps so far. And then you have Elberly's out tonight, so you don't have your starting center in there. So you're going to have some of those difficulties at times.
Hockman in trouble on the run. Wally Ame tracking him down.
Got a sack on that play by Allman. It's great to see Wally out there. They've moved positions, Wally. Wally was a defensive tackle coming in here, and now he's moved to that defensive end, and you can really see the excitement on his part. Very athletic young man. He's a big body, so he's going to play well against the run, but he's getting his opportunity to really come off the edge and wreak havoc. He's done a terrific job. They're very impressed by him this spring. He's kind of got a renewed sense of football about him, and is really having fun playing on the edge under Coach Snyder.
Tommy Martin, the punter for the Garnet side, and that ball will roll into the arms of Keith Gavin. Again, no returns here on these punts. So that'll roll dead at the 38-yard line for the Gold team.
2018 True Seminoles shirt is
So,
to a retailer near you.
punt, touchdown for the Gold, touchdown, punt for the Garnet.
We have a 7-7 tie.
Exactly. And still 5:54 left in the first quarter.
Visit TrueSeminole.com. The 2018 Cypress Spring Football Game is brought to you by Visit Tallahassee.
Really exciting time here in Tallahassee. You see this stadium starting to fill up now. These fans are excited about Tiger Time. You can see that. You can sense it here in the city. Everybody's ready to kind of see what this lethal simplicity is all about.
Well, here's Jaquez Patrick, fresh off that touchdown reception, picking up about 3 yards. And you're right, Corey. They were saying maybe 40 or so thousand here. I think there's 40,000 on our side of the stadium alone. And then you look across and you can see another. I don't know. I'm not a math major, but there's more than 40,000 in this stadium. I can tell you that.
I happen to agree with you, and neither am I. I'm not a math major, but it's great to see the fans come out. They've come from out of town. Like you said, we have over 300 former players that have come back for this game, and they've come back to meet Coach Taggart. We had a great time last night, those guys getting out and getting a chance to meet the new coaching staff.
And that is a good, tough, hard run from Jaquez Patrick. He might on occasion take a little while to get going with him being as big as he is, but when he gets going, he's an absolute freight train of a back.
He is. He's hard to bring down. And those are kind of backs that really wear you down. You hate to see those guys coming through the hole in the fourth quarter and late in the third quarter when it's money time. And that's when he's excelled. You look at him and you don't see a guy that you think can turn on the burners, but when he hits that hole, he's going 100 miles an hour downhill.
Perhaps a little movement up here on the line. And a false start.
66, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That is Andrew Basham, the O-lineman out of Tampa, Florida, went to high school at Berkeley Prep. He's a redshirt junior, a guy who can play multiple positions up front, a guy who played football, baseball, and wrestled in high school. Ball knocked away at the line. That is Dontavius Jackson once again.
Yeah, that was a wide open play right there. If that play is completed, he's gonna hit his head on the goalpost. So great job by Jackson.
So twice we've seen Dontavius Jackson, the junior linebacker out of Texas, making some big plays here today. Blackman under pressure and just dumps it at the feet of Amir Rasul.
You got Jalen Parks on the sack right there. Another young player, redshirt freshman, came in last year, worked his butt off, and he has had a terrific spring. I'm excited. I got a chance to work with him a little bit this past week, and just to see his aptitude for the game, I'm really excited for those young guys. He and Corey Durden, two young guys that are going to see a lot of playing time this season, and plays extremely hard. I love watching those guys play.
You mentioned Jalen Parks. He and Durden both went to the same high school, both of them down at Newberry High School, both of them on the scout team this past year, and that will do it for the Gold team. Something that'll be interesting to keep an eye on here, and again, we're in the first quarter and the second half is going to be running clock, but with there being so few healthy O-linemen, as time goes on and you see guys getting double the amount of snaps that they would usually do, that O-line might not hold up. Again, that's more of a concern down the line. But as Logan Tyler sends the punt the other way, it's something to keep an eye on.
Booming punt by Logan Tyler there.
Surprise, surprise. Logan Tyler continues to take steps forward as a punter.
Coach Taggart was talking about scoring in a hurry. One play, 88 and out the gate on that play.
And this crowd appreciative. And that man right there, appreciative to be here.
Really a true fan, not only the head coach of Florida State University, but a Florida State Seminole fan. It's really exciting to have him here as a head coach. He's really ingratiated himself not only to the players that are here, but to the former players. He's he understands where he is. He has embraced it. He's excited for the opportunity, and it was one that he just couldn't pass up. But you can just see it every single day. He's excited to be the head coach of Florida State University.
Wide open, Keith Gavin. Beautiful little play action pass, faking the handoff and dropping back, and he didn't waste much time firing over the middle.
No, one of those great plays by Blackman there is just putting it on a dime. You see the little play fake there, finds Keith Gavin on the crossing route. And big bodies are easy to find in that defensive backfield.
Now a little screen to the near side. Sheffield got the corner and picked up a handful of yards. So the Gold team in business on the Garnet side of the field. And here's Sheffield, and he's just absolutely rocked.
Well, we're used to seeing those Sanford Samuels come up and make big hits, but it was Sanford Samuels III that came up and made a big stick on that play. This young man is exciting to watch.
Sheffield turned before he secured the ball.
Pass intended for Deontay Sheffield.
And that'll bring up 4th down.
Let's go back and talk a little bit about Sanford Samuels. Of course, father played here and is now helping on the coaching staff. And this young man has just really come in with a focus. When you watch him go out and prepare, he doesn't prepare like he's a freshman. He actually prepares like he's a senior. He goes out there about his business, and a great leader on this defense. I look forward to him having a very successful career, a very successful short career here at Florida State. One of those big corners that can play all over that secondary.
So here's Logan Tyler on to punt once again and to try to pin that Garnet team back. Ball floated and will be fielded at the 15-yard line. So I want to go back to what I was saying about Coach Odell Haggins. It was actually in an interview at the time with our sideline reporter, Ari Masudi. He said, "We are a family here in Tallahassee." And that's continued on into Willie Taggart coming in. And that, with the enthusiasm, we've seen that a lot, especially as of late. Through practice, he's brought back those former players. They've had ability, including yourself, to go and check in with the players. When I was at practice myself, I saw you right there with Odell, watching on. It's just been refreshing, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think that's a word that you can use about this program right now. Every guy that has had a chance to come back here is all saying the same thing. And so it's been fun. This weekend has been terrific. And we just look for more of this from the guys that have been through this program and the guys that are currently here, going out there and just really enjoying playing the game of football, but it will all come down to wins and losses. And that's when that's where you make your money, so to speak.
Cam Akers in trouble, spun out of it, but still has a lot of work to do. Somehow got back to the line of scrimmage. And that is a tough run there from Akers, and a good job picking up a handful of yardage when it looked like that was blown up well beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was. But, Cam Akers, is, as you saw all last season, as a true freshman, just a very unique talent, has the ability to make something out of nothing.
A shifty guy who broke Dalvin Cook's freshman rushing record. And now here's Hawkman dropping back to pass. And that ball is incomplete.
Hawkman pass incomplete. Ontario Wilson was the intended target.
Cameron House on the coverage.
You can see the ball's a little bit short there. Cameron House does a terrific job. That ball going to Ontario Wilson. Wilson came in last year as a freshman defensive back, and he's really found his place in that receiving corps. With the numbers being the way they were, he really stepped in, and you couldn't tell that this young man hadn't been in that receiver room all along. He just really kind of stepped in there, and the coaches have been very impressed by the way he's carried himself, his practice habits, going out there and making big plays every practice.
Between the injuries and the guys who had left early, that was one of those positions or one of those areas that they were in need, and he filled that gap as Keith Gavin had to dive on that punt to field it at the goal 49. But a guy that I've heard a lot of questions from people that have, not done what we do and have the ability to go to practice about Ontario and about Tamori Ontari as well. Guys who you're not familiar seeing in that lineup, but you know the kind of intangibles that they possess, because let's be honest here, this is a Florida State fan base that watches plenty of film. They're on top of their recruits. They know their stuff, and they know that there's some potential there, and they're finally getting a chance to see it here as a quick slant and a completion across the middle. A great pickup
Pass complete to Trey McKinney.
to Trey McKinney.
You talk about one of those players that has benefited from Taggart's scheme. It's Trey McKinney, a big target out of tight end, very athletic, and is going to be used as much as as a tight end. He'll be used to spread out that offense and really provide a big target for Blackman next season.
So McKinney puts the Gold team in business. And then stuffed on the run with the clock ticking down here to close out this first quarter. Blackman to drop back and pass once more. Gavin tied up on the near side with Kyle Myers, the junior corner out of New Orleans, Louisiana. That'll stop the clock with 4 seconds left here in the quarter.
You see, Florida State has that luxury with those big receivers. We talked a little bit about Tamori Terry, but the same thing can be said for Keith Gavin. Just a big body out there on the outside. One of those targets that you got to give him those shots on those 50-50 balls.
You mentioned Trey McKinney. He was a guy that Willie Taggart wanted to come to Eugene. Well, he's got him here in Tallahassee. Final seconds here of the first quarter. Whistle's blowing, so this isn't really going to matter much. I believe there was movement up front. And we'll await the call.
The end of the first quarter.
We will head to a break. The first quarter is complete. Garnet leads it 14-7. Quarterbacks on full display here in Tallahassee. With more on that, here's the third member of our team, Arya Masudi. Take it away, Arya.
Thank you, Sean. Well, as coaches are trying to find their starting quarterbacks all across the country, Florida State and Willie Taggart have a unique situation on their hands. Of course, when Deondre Francois tore his patellar tendon against Alabama last year, that gave James Blackman an opportunity to get starting reps. That's given Florida State 2 quarterbacks with experience. This spring, James Blackman told me he worked on his footwork. He also worked on decision-making, trying to find his way with that new up-tempo offense. Deondre Francois, interestingly enough, was able to do work this spring. He was able to find ways to work without contact. He did some 7-on-7s. Deondre told me he's ahead of schedule and will be full go by the summer. Now, one guy to keep an eye on, it's the underdog, the dark horse, so to speak, of this this team. It's Bailey Hockman. Bailey Hockman, Willie Taggart called him a strong-armed quarterback, a coach's kid, very good, very strong player. He's a guy who needs today to try and catch up and do well as we move into the summer. Guys, thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Arya. And while Arya was filling us in more in-depth on the quarterback situation here at Florida State, I don't know if it's a situation or a blessing for Willie Taggart to have these kind of guys to decide between. You got a guy who led this team to the Orange Bowl, a guy who, as a true freshman, inherited what was, I don't want to say a mess because it sounds demeaning to the team, but it was a chaotic situation with the weather and the way things were. But what he inherited, it's tough for any adult, any 20-year-old, any 21-year-old to take on. He's 18, fresh out of high school. And he did a nice job, all things considered. And now here's Bailey Hockman, a guy that, throughout the time and throughout this offseason, in the run-up to this spring game, he takes a sack there. But something that has been made abundantly clear is that this is not a done deal. This isn't a 1-2 race. He's got a legitimate shot.
He absolutely does. He absolutely has to just come in, continue to just do his work. He can't focus on the depth chart. He just has to focus on going out there and getting the job done. continuing to display those leadership skills that he has, continue to just with the will to work. Right now, this young man's he's out there and he's hobbled a little bit. I think he's going to have a little bit of ankle issue after the end of this game, and so he's out there fighting through those injuries. Those are the things that when you look at him as a teammate, you're encouraged because you understand that he's there for you. He's not a selfish guy. He's gonna go out there and fight through whatever he needs to put this team on top. And so those are the guys you like to have in your room from 1 to 3, regardless if it's your starter or if he's a backup. You want those guys you can count on.
Corey Durden jumped off sides, so this should
Offside
make it
with contact.
3rd and 19.
Number 55, 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, they got Frederick Jones instead of Corey Durden. He must have jumped first. Jones, the defensive tackle out of Miami, one of any number of Noles that you can look at, present or past, that went to Miami Central. And now from 3rd and 19, here's Hockman avoiding pressure and throwing incomplete to Ontario Wilson.
Great pressure there by Brian Burns, one of those players, again, that when you look at this new system that Harlan Burnett is running, he's one of those guys that's going to benefit greatly. He's going to get more of an opportunity to stick his hand in the dirt and come off that edge, not having to take on as many blocks. He's going to wreak havoc on guys. He already has that ability to get after the quarterback, and now he's going to have the freedom to free himself up to be able to do those things consistently. And so I look for a big fall for him to go out there and continue to make those strides into the great player that I think he will be with more practice and more game time.
Decent punt there from deep inside the Garnet red zone, but Keith Gavin fielding it at the 38-yard line. We'll be back to Tallahassee in a couple of moments. 14-7 here in Tallahassee. The Garnet team with the edge, but the white team, or rather the gold team, they're wearing the white unis with the ball. Majority of both offenses run in shotgun. That's not exactly surprising. And that ball incomplete, intended for Deontay Sheffield.
Pass intended for Sheffield.
Yeah, I don't expect to see many quarterback under center opportunities in this Taggart offense.
A little movement up front. And a false start will be called against the gold team.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 57. 5-yard penalty.
And that is
Second
Corey
down.
Martinez. Martinez, the center out of Tampa, Florida, went to Tampa Catholic. Made 4 appearances last year, and that was in the last 4 games.
Yeah, you can't have your center move up front. Yeah, I mean, you've got the ball in your hand. You either snap it or you don't at this point.
Well, now he snaps it to Blackman, and Blackman looking to air that out on the far sideline, incomplete. Keith Gavin couldn't come away with the grab. Hamza Nasralty on the coverage.
Well, you have a great job here, Kyle Miles, just kind of staying in phase and just kind of blocking him out a little bit. Keith Gavin, he will come up with those catches. He's made a ton of those this spring of just going out and making ridiculous catches, but that one he just couldn't come up with.
To air it out once again and over the hands of Sheffield. Put a little too much mustard on that one, did James Blackman, and Sheffield comes away empty-handed. And so too will the gold team.
Yeah, he'll look back at that pass when he goes back and watches the film and wishes he put a little bit more air under it. But he had that pressure right up in his face, and that's the worst pressure for a quarterback, coming right up the middle. It's very hard to stick your foot in the ground and drive that ball when you got a guy that's bearing down on you.
DJ Matthews back to field the punt. And he'll cover it up. At the Garnet 22, and maybe they'll spot him at the 23, right in between the two. So the Garnet team with the 7-point lead will resume on offense at Doak Campbell Stadium. The Florida State Garnet versus Gold spring game here in Tallahassee. We're in the second quarter with 13:09 on the clock. Seminole cheerleaders in front of a great crowd here in Tallahassee. The Garner team with a chance to extend their lead. Bailey Hockman, the Garnet quarterback, looking to throw on first down, and that is complete across the 30 and near the first down marker.
Pass complete to DJ Matthews. Ordering Woodby on the gun.
DJ Matthews, a guy that can be incredibly explosive. We've seen it on punt returns. We've seen it on special teams as that ball floated out of the reach of Ontario Wilson. But this is a guy that in that lethal but simplistic offense that I think can really, Corey, shine here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, and he's been that guy all spring long. He's Mr. Consistency. He comes to work and he brings his lunch pail, so to speak, every time he steps out on the field. He doesn't have off days. That's what the coaches, I think, love about him, is that he comes to work every day and he gives everything he has. And you've seen it. The ability is there. There's no question about it. You saw it last year, especially in the punt return game. But I think this year you'll get a lot more of that at that wide receiver position where he'll get an opportunity to really show you what he's got. And this young man has a lot.
Isaiah Prowse-Lackey there on the tackle of Ontario Wilson, the cornerback out of Atlanta, a name that I've also seen quite a bit in the articles and in the papers leading up to the spring game. So yet another man, as we mentioned at the top of the show, with an opportunity to put his signature on his time here at Florida State.
That's the great thing about bringing in a new coaching staff. Everybody has a clean slate. And so there's no preconceived notions about what players are or how good they are or how bad they are. You get an opportunity to kind of go out there and autograph your performance. You get a chance to show these coaches exactly what you are, and they evaluate you on that as opposed to what you've done in the past.
The Garnet drive stalls at their own 38. So Tommy Martin will be back to punt once again. It will be Keith Gavin back on the theoretical return. He calls fair catch at the 15-yard line. So the gold team will have a chance, but they'll have to go 85 yards. And we'll see if they can do that when we come back to Tallahassee in a couple of moments. Last I checked, the blue and orange spring game, or the orange and blue debut, or whatever they're calling it, is a couple of hours south. But hey, if you live closer to Tallahassee, I guess there's no rule that says you can't show school spirit for your particular school of choice. And I will say that lady there wearing that FSU attire, she had spotted that camera well into our commercial break, and I got to make uncomfortable eye contact with her for a little while. But I'm convinced you will see a couple of those fans from every fan base at every stadium across the country. I'm sure there'll be some Garnet and Gold down there at Sun Life, or whatever they're calling that stadium down there, Hard Rock Stadium now. I'm sure there will be some Garnet and Gold, or there was down there at Ben Hill Griffin, and we have some blue and orange here too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Well, that's a pretty fortunate pass to Trey McKitty, who spins free of a tackle, and McKitty going to be knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Again, then I really love what I'm seeing from Trey McKitty and what I've seen from him throughout the spring practice. Just really a sure-handed receiver, but he's a big body that can run. I'm excited to see him in this Willie Taggart system.
Jacquez Patrick picked up about 3. But back to McKitty. Mentioned earlier that he was a guy that got away from Willie Taggart. This is a guy from Wesley Chapel. He's from that Tampa area. So when Willie Taggart was recruiting, he's got those roots in that area. That's a big reason why this is a guy he knew a lot about and wanted. And now he's putting on full display why Willie Taggart's probably thankful that he's here now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're seeing why he was so heavily recruited because of the tools, the receiving tools that he has that can really be explosive in this offense.
Third and about 3 as the old team going to the ground the last couple of times. Not here. Blackman to throw. And off the mark, Sheffield had to dive to make the grab and could not.
Intended for Sheffield.
So the goal drive will stall out right at midfield, maybe just a foot or two ahead of the 50-yard line. And after a high-octane start, both of these offenses have stalled out a little bit.
And what you see is, and typically what you see in the spring is, especially under new staffs or new systems, defenses are always going to be a little bit further ahead than the offense, especially when you're playing such a much more aggressive, easier defense that they play now. They're always going to kind of be ahead because you have the athletes. Offensive systems typically take a little bit longer to kind of get things going. And so if I'm a fan, I'm not really looking at this game and saying we're in trouble as an offense because we're not putting up 30, 40 points right now. What I'm looking at is a defense that is going to be exceptional when it's all said and done, and an offense that will be playing a little bit of catch-up against our defense, but at the end of the day, I think will be what Willie Taggart's offense has always been, and that's explosive.
And when you combine a defense that locks things down with an explosive offense, that sounds like a pretty good combination to me.
Sounds like a national championship contender, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Nope.
We're only in April right now, so we'll put that on hold and just enjoy the process.
Yep. But I will say this. I mean, I'm not saying this is a team that's going to do incredible things this year. We're going to have to wait and see. That's why they play 12 weeks in the regular season. If they are so fortunate and able to play a conference championship game, they'll play there, and then we'll see where the postseason takes them. But this is probably the first time in one of his new jobs that you can actually say for Willie Taggart that the cupboard wasn't bare when he got there.
No, and you don't expect the cupboard to be bare at Florida State University. Just the lineage from Coach Bowden on, there's always going to be players here. It's just about coming in and being able to gel as a team. I think more importantly, a lot can be said for guys that are able to come together and learn to play for one another. And I think that's what you've seen this team do during the course of this spring, really come together as a family. And that way when they step out on the field, they're willing to fight for one another. And there's no selfish intent from those guys on the field. They all have the same common goal to go out there and win a national championship. But at the end of the day, they know they have to come together to do so.
Hockman had DJ Matthews breaking free, but didn't have enough time to get the throw to him, so no problem. I'll make the play with my feet. A first down here for the Garnet team. And Cam Akers is spun down. Forward progress might pick up a yard.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that you just wish Cam would just stick his foot in the ground and get those 3 or 4 yards and fall forward. Tried to bounce it, and that's something at the end of the season he really did a great job of not trying to turn everything into a home run. That play, I think he was just trying to bite off a little more than he could and didn't gain any yards when he could have got about 3 or 4.
14-7 in favor of the Garnet team. A little bobbled exchange on the handoff there. And that'll go for a pickup of about 2. They're down in 6. And nobody home there.
Well, it's a great job by the quarterback and the receiver to be on the same page. They knew they had a free play there. Florida State defensive front jumped off sides. Corey Durden and Fred jumped off sides there, but you keep playing. And they came away with a positive play, a first down, and Florida State keeps the Garnet team keeps moving.
It's to Tamorian Terry on the far sideline. And a pass over the middle. I believe caught by Gabe Neighbors.
Pass complete to Gabe Neighbors.
Gabe Neighbors, one of several tight ends on this Garnet roster.
And nails a receiver downfield. Offense number 33. He was covered. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
One of plenty of Seminoles that we were talking about that went to Miami Central earlier. One of plenty of Seminoles that went to Lowndes County High School as well.
Yeah, it seems like 2 of those programs, when you look at Lowndes and what they've been able to accomplish, I mean, it's Titletown, USA. The number of players that come out of there, and Gabe's no exception to that. came in as a fullback, and in this system now is playing a little bit more tight end.
And that ball batted at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete at the 42-yard line. Warner the third. The start on defense today for the Gold team. Now it remains 2nd and 15. Here's Hockman. Hockman on the move out to the right, and that is complete. They're going to wave it off, I think, and say Terry rather had a foot out of bounds. Acrobatic catch. I think those toes were touching the paint.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Replay would call him in on that one.
Ooh.
Unfortunately for the fans, we don't have instant replay today. But that looked like a good catch to me.
It looked good in real time.
That would be a good catch in the NFL. He got both toes in on that one.
That's true.
Great job again by Bailey Hockman of just extending the play, getting out of the pocket a little bit and finding an open receiver.
And a delay a game here called as the clock hits 0. So that'll make it 3rd and 20. Quick throw. And here's DJ Matthews trying to make a play with his feet. He'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, but not much more.
You see just little simple 10-yard plays like that. DJ Matthews makes it look like it could be a home run. He reminds me a lot of just his footwork as E.G. Green when you look back. And, I dare to say Peter Warrick just in his ability to stop and start. But he makes those little 10-yard plays look like they can be potential home runs, and he's an exciting player to watch. His ability to run routes, just a very, very polished young receiver. You just don't see that very often. It's very hard for guys to come out and be as polished as he is coming out of high school. And you've seen this young man since he stepped foot on campus. Has just kind of gone down he's kind of checked all the boxes with his ability to be an explosive player.
Keith Gavin fielding that punt at the white 18-yard line with more. Here's Aria Masudi.
All right, Sean, well, from the field down here, you mentioned the speed of the tempo that Florida State wants to play at under Willie Taggart. At USF and at Oregon, Taggart's teams averaged around 73 to 74 plays a game. Last year, Florida State under Jimbo Fisher only had 62 plays per game. Guys, if you can hear this right now, I'm going to change what I'm talking about because the Spirit Stick is back here in Tallahassee. Right now, they're trying to set the digital clock, the digital spear, as loud as they can possibly go, so I'm going to let that go for a second. All right, now that you guys can hear me a little bit better, Florida State, of course, going back to the throwbacks here this weekend in Tallahassee. But back to the plays. Florida State right now, the Gold team has run 39 plays. Garnet has ran 27. Those 39 plays, if you go in the second half, Florida State will have a running clock in that second half, but that's around 80 plays per game. So Florida State spent this entire offseason working on conditioning, on getting their minds right to run this type of offense. You're seeing the fruits of that labor here today.
In fact, we have Aria. They've been going so quickly. Sometimes they've beat us to the punch a couple of times. But hey, jokes aside and whatnot, that is, again, this was an offense, and you never want to throw previous coaches under the bus or anything like that, but just lacking in terms of explosive plays. There was no speed, there was no tempo. Things had just gone stale, and to see this team moving with a purpose on offense, getting back to the line of scrimmage. You don't see huddles. They're just getting the signal and they go.
Yeah, and it's just a change in philosophy. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just different.
Yep.
And that's what you see here. And there's nothing wrong with different. I don't want to disparage what Jimbo did. Jimbo brought a national championship to Florida State University after a decade of really kind of just kind of going about business, doing things in an un-Florida State-like way. And so it was just a different approach. And I think the fans are excited to see the up-tempo. It's what's happening now. And it's always great to get our fans enthusiastic about what's to come. But at the same token, they've got to convert this speed on offense to points. And I have no doubt that Coach Taggart will do that with the amount of talent on this team and on this roster. He'll get that done. He'll put the points up. But it's just a different style about going out there and accomplishing a goal. And at the end of the day, I think they'll do that.
And this is a roster here. You mentioned that Willie Taggart has put his new stamp on things. There's some NFL departures here, and the Seminoles lost 6 key players, including but not limited to Derwin James. He's projected to be a first-round draft pick. But there's Josh Sweat, Derek Nottie, who is a phenomenal leader, Ryan Izzo, Auden Tate opting to leave early, Tavares McFadden, who a couple of seasons ago led the nation in interceptions. Those are some big holes that he's going to have to fill, despite the fact that he does have some talent here.
You're absolutely right. And the second part of that was spot on. He's got talent here. It's hard to replace a Derwin James. Those type players are once in a generation players, but there's no lack of talent. I think when you look immediately out there on that defensive core, you look at a Nasruddin who has had a phenomenal spring. He is a thumper. He's one of those guys, since he stepped foot on campus, just wants to knock you out. The young true freshman that's just stepped foot on campus from California and Woodby has done a terrific job. 216 pounds as a true freshman, just coming in here prepared to go out and compete. And so there's a lot of talent that left, but there's a lot of talent that's still here. And I look forward to seeing those guys get their opportunity. It's always been next man up here at Florida State University, and that's the way I think those guys in the locker room look at it. Josh Sweat's gone. Well, Kane Doe's here. Once he gets healthy and gets back on the field, he'll be one of those players that go out there and compete. You'll miss those guys. They're always a part of the family, but those guys that are still in that locker room understand the talent that they have. And they believe in themselves. They believe in this coaching staff to go out there and get the very best out of it.
And the responsibility that they have to take the success of years in Seminoles past and build on that and turn it into something new, but build on it in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, a little hesitation there for Leyburn. Allowed him to pick up about 3 or 4. So it'll be 2nd and 6 here. Garnet team on the gold 36. Here is Leyburn once again, and that is enough for the first down. He's tackled somewhere in the neighborhood of the 28-yard line.
You watch Leyburn run the ball this spring, and you just see he's trying to make all the right moves, and he's doing a terrific job of just getting his head down and getting what he can. Not trying to spread things out or trying to take it around the edge. He's just sticking his head in there and getting those hard 3 or 4 yards every single time he touches the ball. You love to see that. You love to see running backs that fall forward on contact.
Picked up about 6 there. He'll get another handoff, and that'll be close to the first down. We'll have to wait to see where they spot it.
Leonard Warner on the stop.
Just a yard shy, so he'll get the handoff once again, and he will break forward, and that will be a first down conversion for the Garnet team.
Again, it doesn't show up big on the stat sheet, but those are big first down that you have to convert to keep the drive going.
And now it'll be first down and 10 at the gold 16-yard line. Leyburn checks out, Akers checks in. 2 to the right, 2 to the left, to the air, and there's McKinney, and it's broken up.
Flag on the play.
That was Tamorian Terry, had the wrong number there for a second.
Pass interference, defense, number 43. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that is Joseph Shergan called for the pass interference.
He got a little nervous when he's in phase. All he had to do was really play through the receiver. But when you have a Tamorian Taylor out there, Terry out there, it's very hard to stay patient in that process. And he started grabbing when he really didn't need to.
Cam Akers to receive the snap, bounces off of Derek Kelly, and that play just blew up.
Akers on the carry.
Still second down and goal with 2:52 left here in the half. Garner team will try again from the gold 5.
All last season we had fans that were screaming to see Cam Akers at quarterback, and he gets his first opportunity back there in the Wildcat, and we just couldn't convert.
Timeout taken by the Garnet team. And just before that timeout taken, Pop Upshur checked in. And that's another player that we've heard quite a bit about leading up to this stretch and leading up to the spring game. Also, something we haven't mentioned, say goodbye to the days of the fullback here in this up-tempo offense. Fullbacks turned into tight ends. Upshur was already in that spot, but a few guys that have made that shift. And Gabe Neighbors is another one. He's another one of the tight ends on the squad, but this Upshur guy, a guy that we've heard quite a bit about as well.
Yeah, and he's had one of those. He's one of those guys that have stood out this spring as well. There's just been so many guys on this roster that have just they've upgraded their ability to compete for a position. And Upshur is one of those guys. He's just come out here. He has been a Florida State diehard for a long time. If you follow him on social media, he loves this university. A guy from up north that came into Tallahassee, and he's just been one of those Seminoles you're always proud of. And now he's finally getting an opportunity to get on the field and play a little bit. I look for big things from him, and replacing Izzo this summer.
Ryan Izzo opting to leave early for the NFL, and that Akers run bottled up short of the goal. Up and good. So it's 21-7 in favor of the Garnet team, and with an up-tempo offense, pretty much every drive is a 2-minute drill, but we're going to actually get to see one here from the Gold team as we get set to close out the half here at Joe Campbell Stadium. But we've seen some flash on offense, Corey, but I think the big thing here is we've seen the defense really make these offenses earn it out there today.
Well, and you're going to see that. Like I said a little bit earlier, it's the defense is going to naturally be ahead of where the offense is in the spring, and you have competition. That's the thing that makes this program what it's been for years. There's competition in every position, and when you have that competition, it brings the best out in you. And you look at that defensive backfield with all of those guys that are there. There is just at every single level, these guys have got to compete for playing time. And when they get out there, that's what you're seeing today. Those guys are just they're out there to compete, and that's what you love.
So the Gold team will have to compete and see if they can make this a one-score game at the half. Again, second half will be running clock. See Carlos Becker there, smiling. Becker, a guy that's been a little banged up at times this spring, a promising prospect out of Central Florida. Here's Deontay Sheffield.
Pass complete to Sheffield. Brought in by Brooks.
That's good for the first down at the 35-yard line.
Pass complete to Sheffield.
And in a hurry, Blackman goes back to Sheffield.
Same play, different direction.
Yep.
Same person making the tackle with Declan Brooks coming up and making another big stop.
Handoff there to Jaquez Patrick. Didn't go much of anywhere. It'll be 3rd and long.
Denarius Robinson on the stop.
Two to the right, two to the left. And that's Bariluk who can't make the grab. Michael Bariluk, the wide receiver out of Orlando, played his high school ball at Lake Nona High School. Can't hang on to the 3rd and 7th throw.
Yeah, those are the ones that you got to have. We talked a little bit earlier about catching the ball with your hands. What you saw there is the ball just got in on him, and he tried to catch it with his chest, and those pads will prevent that a lot of time from locking that ball in. And so he'll learn from it. He'll go back. He'll get better. But you got to make those plays on 3rd and long.
Logan Tyler on to punt. And the fair catch will be called back at the Garnet 14-yard line. So 49 seconds left here for the Garnet side. See if they can add a little something to the equation.
Knowing Coach Taggart's offense, he's not about to sit on it and just run the ball right here. I think he's going to take his shot and see what he can get out of it.
I think my favorite quote leading up to this game, Mike Martin went over, the Florida State baseball coach went over and watched practice. He said, "I got tired just watching." Mike Martin closing in on becoming the winningest head coach in college baseball. An exciting weekend here in Tallahassee, a top 15 showdown over at Dick Howser Stadium, which is just steps away from here. A 90s throwback concert here following the spring game, ushering in the Taggart era formally on the field here at Doak Campbell Stadium. A whole lot of good stuff. Softball team earlier this week picking up a win over Florida.
Great time to be a Seminole. What am I saying? It's always a great time to be a Seminole.
You're not going to find many people around here that are going to disagree with you on that one. Blake Middleton, the redshirt junior out of Hutchinson, Kansas, bottled up, and the clock will hit all zeros to end the half here in Tallahassee. Bailey Hockman and the Garnet team inching themselves closer to a steak dinner tonight, Corey Simon. And Hockman's looked solid so far tonight.
He has. He's done a really good job of just controlling the offense. He has a good grasp of what they're doing. You can see that while he's out there. And that's what you want out of your quarterback. You want him to be in control of what's going on out on the field.
And these fans loving it as they look on. And Aria Masudi is standing by with head coach Willie Taggart.
All right, thank you, Sean. Here with head coach Willie Taggart. Coach, you installed a new scheme this year. How do you feel like your quarterbacks have handled the new no-huddle up-tempo offense?
I mean, they're getting better at it. You know, we got to complete some passes there, and guys got to help them out and catch some balls. We have too many drops, and I think a big part of it is they're getting off schedule. You know, we bad snap here or there, or the center false snap, so we got to do a better job with that. If they can do a better job with that, they'll be more efficient with the offense.
Caleb Maborn breaking some big-time runs. How do you see him fitting into your offense? What do you see him doing?
We think Caleb's going to be a great player for us. You know, he's had a really good spring, and going into this game, we felt like he was going to have a good spring game, and he's showing it. And if I'm that team, I'm going to continue to feed him the ball.
How much of the spring did you dedicate to instilling a new offense, to a new team, and how much of it did you prepare for Virginia Tech?
I mean, a lot of it was trying to understand it ourselves. We can't do anything towards Virginia Tech if we don't know what we're doing. So it's really important that our guys understand what we're doing and continue to get better at what we're doing. And we did some things where we introduced Virginia Tech so our guys will be able to work on some of those things in the offseason. But a big part for us, learning what we're doing first and foremost.
And then a big concert coming up. Vanilla Ice, Little Salt and Pepper, Rob Bass. You listen to any of those guys in the 90s?
Oh, yeah. I listened to all of it. You know, that was the good old days.
All right, I appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Guys.
All right, thank you so much, Aria. We appreciate the time, and we appreciate Coach Taggart for standing by. Halftime underway here at Doak Campbell Stadium. The Garnet team leads it 21-7 here in Tallahassee. Halftime here at Doak Campbell Stadium, and we've got Dalvin Cook on the crew. I think he'd fit pretty well into an up-tempo offense, and I think he'll make our career up-tempo as well. Aria Masudi is standing down below with Telvin Smith.
All right, now we're here with former Seminole Telvin Smith, now current Jacksonville Jaguar. Telvin, let's start first with your Jags. Huge year for you guys. What led the way?
I say just everybody buying into what Coach Coughlin and Coach Doug was doing. And then obviously the front office, bringing the right guys in and us putting in that work, you know what I mean? Believing in what we're doing and going out winning.
I see you back here for the spring game. How has Willie Taggart embraced the former players?
Listen. I promise you, you don't have to say much. Just look at the sidelines. You know what I mean? I think this is the most players that ever been back to a spring game, and it's crazy, but it's love. Everybody here, and it's love, man. I'm telling you.
Has he reached out to you at all to talk to the team or give any advice to the players?
I'm talking to the team on Sunday. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be there, and I'm supposed to get back with him, man. And I've been trying to talk more to him to feel out what his philosophy is, because I want to reiterate that to the guys in whatever way that I can, man, and just show them that it's possible. You know what I mean? And through him is how they gonna do it.
And I want to ask you a question about the NFL and the rules and, the targeting penalty that they're trying to enforce.
Right.
What's your opinion on that?
It's tough because it's already tough to tackle and stuff like that, especially being a defensive guy. Offensive guys have so much more leverage, but, we have to just play the game. You know what I mean? I don't make the rules, I just play the game. So if they keep making them, I'm going to keep playing them and find a way to do it.
Can the Jags get any better this year?
Of course, did we win the Super Bowl last year? You know what I mean? So we were 5 minutes away from making history. Even though a lot of people think what we did was history, we just got to keep it going. But I'm telling you, man, they woke up a monster.
All right, I appreciate the time, Telvin. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, back to you guys, Sean.
Thanks so much, Aria, and thank you, Telvin. Corey, back when I had first just got on campus, Telvin Smith was one of my first interviews ever. He's one that I will always remember, and it's always such a pleasure to hear him talk. The passion is so genuine. He's such a good charactered person, and it's a real honor to have him back in the house tonight.
It is. It's an honor to have him and all the other guys that are broke from OTAs to come out here and be a part of this occasion with Coach Taggart. It's always great to see the former players come back, but I piggyback on what you said about Telvin. Just a class act. He represents this program. He represents his family and everything that he does in Jacksonville. It's great to see him out here.
Telvin Smith and all of these other men that are on the field for a flag football game are all part of that Florida State family that we've talked about, coming back to Tallahassee and stake their claim and reinsert their signature that they had already placed on the program, but now with Willie Taggart here, they're back in the fold. Looks like we got a little double pass here. Ooh, look at that. On the goal to double pass, Jimmy Jordan.
I think the key for this halftime game with the old guys is just to be able to walk away.
Yeah, exactly. Lonnie Johnson on the reception wrestled down that ball. And now PK Sam looking to air it out. Instead, he checks it down to the near side. Philip Browning has his flag ripped off.
That's a dream for those offensive linemen. They finally get a chance to run out in a route.
These are things that we didn't expect to say, but something I did expect to say at some point was let's send it back down to Aria Masudi.
All right, Sean, thank you so much. I'm definitely getting my work in here at the half. You see the former players doing their flag football game. Something I want to update you guys on was how Florida State prepared for their new up-tempo offense. It was a 3-week conditioning program called The Chase. The players and coaches would get up at 6 a.m. every single morning and do high-intensity workouts, games, anything in a competitive environment to try and build the camaraderie that it takes to go into the regular season. Corey Martinez told me the team was as in good a shape as possible heading into spring practice. due to the chase. It's a way for the players, the coaches, and the administration. That was one of the first official group things that they did together, and it's going to pay dividends in this season, especially when Florida State wants to run between 75 and 80 plays a game. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Aria. While he was updating us, I'll get your thoughts, because I know that you've been here for a long time and that you've got a special vested interest in this university. I believe we're about to head to a commercial break, but we'll get your thoughts when we come back. The second half, a quick group picture for all the participants of the alumni flag football game sometime down the road from now, but not anytime soon. Perhaps Bailey Hockman will be participating in that alumni football game. Hockman, a youngster who's just embarking on his Florida State career. And within a minute of getting this game underway, Corey, I want to go ahead and finish that thought. You've been here a while, you won a national championship here, and now here we are ushering in this new era, but with respect to the past, and I'm sure that has to feel really good.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, you always feel this has always felt like home for a lot of players, and finally get a chance to come back here and see just how bought in this coaching staff is to seeing the older guys come back, and those guys feel welcome. And it's not to say that the other regime didn't welcome them, but I think there's just that renewed excitement inside this university. Just being back this weekend has just been a joy. It's always great to see my former teammates and guys that came before me. And so, that's a special bond that we all have. We've all gone through mat drills. So that's that thing that just kind of unites us all.
Great to see the coaches smiling. And speaking of the coaches, Aria Masudi caught up with each head coach of the either side, Garnet and Gold. Aria?
Yeah, Sean, I just spoke with Raymond Woody and Mark Snyder, coaches for the Gold and the Garnet. We'll start with the Gold. They're down 21-7. Coach Snyder told me that he just wants to see his team not beat themselves. He wants to see his team find a way to play more disciplined football. He said they gave up a big run. They gave up a busted coverage, which led to a touchdown. He just wants to see his team play more consistently, put some drives together, and try and get back into this thing. Now, as far as Woody, Coach Raymond Woody tells me that he wants to see more consistency as well. He says LeBourne has given them something on the ground game. He said Bailey Hockman has performed much better than originally thought. Hockman, of course, had a foot injury through some of spring camp and wasn't even supposed to play in today's game, but he's showing a lot of toughness. He is the coach's kid, of course. His father, a high school coach. I'm trying to dodge footballs, by the way, as they're warming up before the beginning of this third quarter. But yeah, 21-7 at the moment. Garnet leading the Gold. This thing is far from over. Both head coaches have tricks up their sleeve for the second half. Back to you guys.
Ooh, tricks up their sleeve. So you mean this thing's going to get a little bit more interesting. And look at that smile on Willie Taggart's face. They just played the Seminole Rap once again like they did after the ULM game. So he gets a chuckle, and now is part of the Seminole family, a family that he always wanted to be a part of. It didn't play out for him as a player, but now as a head coach, this is his house, and these are his players, and this is his family. And this is his Garnet team about to go to work on offense to get this third quarter going.
Yeah, it's always fun getting a chance to see that Seminole Rap and seeing my former coach up there with all of that lack of rhythm. It's always a great laugh every time they play it.
Ooh, shade. Hockman looking to air it out and just past the hands of Tamorion Terry.
As you can see in this system, you're going to get those shots, and I know the fans always love to see take those deep shots, and so you're going to get plenty of that during the course of the season, and so I'm really fired up to kind of see how that plays out.
Barging straight ahead there is Cam Akers. Again, the clock will continue to run. It would anyway in this circumstance.
I really love to watch Cam get those tough yards where he just kind of puts his head down and makes those defenders pay for it.
Bounces off a tackle this time, throwing the stiff arm, but bottled up. He'll lose a couple of yards there, and the Gold team will be pushed back to their own 29. So Tommy Martin on to punt for the Garnet. I believe I said Gold a second ago. I meant Garnet.
Tommy Martin in punt formation.
And there is Keith Gavin set for the return, theoretically.
Keith Gavin deep to receive.
Charge up to the 33 or 34 yard line. We'll see where they spot it. But decent field position here for the Gold team. Down a couple of touchdowns. This is a team that actually, Corey, has more yards of offense, but something that I noticed that Coach Taggart was so kind to point out to Ari Masudi, that this side especially has had trouble getting off schedule, and they've been setting up 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 with the false starts and with all kinds of other issues. And it's hard to win football games that way.
Yeah, it's hard to get that pace that you're looking for when you're in a situation where you're 2nd and 13, 2nd and 15, you're behind the sticks, so to speak. And so to be able to get that fast pace going, you've got to have that first down be a positive play to get things moving. When you have the plays that are, you're not getting many yards on offense with a running game, or you're coming up with incomplete passes, it just really holds us from, it really stops this team from being able to get into that pace that they're looking for.
Well, that handoff was to Jonquez Patrick. I guess Ari is going to...
Sheffield does a great job of just kind of outworking.
And Ari Masudi is standing by with Dalvin Cook.
All right, thank you, Sean. I'm here with former Seminole running back, great Dalvin Cook. Dalvin, what's it mean to come back to Florida State, a new head coach? How's that relationship been with you?
It definitely means a lot to come back, just to provide, support for the team, and to back Coach Taggart and everything he got going on. He's everything that these kids want, and for what he got going on, we're gonna support him 100%.
You're going through an up-tempo offense. Could you imagine yourself in that offense putting up a lot of yards?
Once you really get going into it, that's just how I go. But me, no, I can't. But how those guys adjust to what he got going on, I salute those guys, and they just got to keep going from there.
I know you had that injury. How's that rehab going? Are you ready to go next year?
The process is going great. I'm taking it week by week. Just going through the process. You got to go through it. And once I touch the field, it's gonna be something to look out for.
I saw those guys in the halftime flag football game. Can we expect to see you out there next year?
Not next year. They old. That's not next year. I ain't that old.
You don't want to do them like that.
I ain't that old.
You got some questions for me?
Yeah, hold on.
All right. We're going to pass the mic now to Dalvin. Yeah. He wants to be a reporter today.
Okay, all right. This is my only question I got. What came behind the suit choice?
Oh, man. You going to rip me on my suit choice? It was down to gray or blue. Should I have gone with the dark blue? What do you think?
You smooth, but I think blue will fit you some more.
What do you think of the watch?
Oh, yeah, that tip it off right now. We good.
Wait. Show them the watch.
Oh,
little gold on black.
We good.
Great minds think alike.
We good.
Appreciate you, Dalvin. Thank you for the time.
I appreciate it.
Sean, Corey.
I would like to take a second to remind all of you, as Ari and Dalvin have their little moment down there on the sideline, that there is one of us that was wearing blue today, and that person is standing right up here and talking to the masses. Little trick play here. And a completion to Marion Terry, breaking free. Terry, house call.
I guess that's one of those trick plays that they talked about coming out at halftime. DJ Matthews was a quarterback at high school, and you saw the arm right there on display, connecting with Marion Terry and for a nice long touchdown there.
Making it a 15-point lead. What the heck, if you're in trouble, might as well give it away. You got them wide open.
Hey, listen, there are hot dogs and steaks on the line for this game. Nothing more evident than the play call there.
Well, if you ask Dalvin Cook, maybe the losing team shouldn't have to eat hot dogs. Maybe they should just have to wear gray suits.
All right, I like your gray suit.
Hey, I didn't say I didn't. I just said Dalvin didn't. They're going to call this play back. Oh, by the way, as flashy as it was, as fun as it was, it's a great attempt from DJ Matthews. It's only going to get the gold team, or the Garnet team rather, down to the 38. And now here's Matthews as a receiver, tripped up by that turf monster, a couple yards shy of a first down.
Sniper got him on that one. We're here, and the wave just broke out in Doak Campbell Stadium.
Well, I would say it's throwback weekend. You should throw the wave back to wherever it came from.
I agree with you there,
There are a couple of laps deep into this, and that is a completion on the far side to Tamorrion Terry.
Another really good catch by Terry, and now you'll see the pace continue to quicken. Now that we have the opportunity to, again, like Coach Taggart talked about earlier, staying on pace, staying ahead of the chains, and now you can just fire up that pace and allow this offense to run the way it's supposed to.
Hand off here to Laybourne.
Aboard on the carry.
Garnet team knocking on the door in that gold red zone, and the wave continues to crash amongst the crowd.
Really loving the atmosphere here in Doak Campbell today, man.
For a spring game.
Yeah, 60,000 plus fans show up today. I think that's a testament to what Coach Taggart is, the enthusiasm that he's provided to this program. What you saw there by Hockman is just that's that quarterback that you like to see. That's what you like to see from your quarterbacks. Always keeping his eyes downfield, not looking to scramble out of the pocket, just stepping up in the pocket, finding that open receiver for a touchdown.
Extra point here to make it a 15-point lead.
The kick is up and good.
5:38 left in the third quarter, and the clock continues to tick. It's a 15-point lead for the Garnet side, and we're going to have to see what the gold team can cook up here. Maybe we should catch our breath too. At least the touchdown stopped the wave.
This is true. It's funny you say cook up. Somebody's going to be cooking up hot dogs after this game.
Coach Woody looking on. Looking pretty good right now. This is going to be a real fun place to be in the fall.
It is. It really is. You can just feel the excitement in this place. I'm fired up. I can't wait for it to get started when the real bullets start flying.
End off here and a hard run from Amir Rasul. They're going to spot him a couple of yards back from where that play ended. And that ball gets behind Blackman. He's going to have to improvise here. And that'll go down as a sack back near the 20-yard line.
I think when you look back at this game, and I think when the coaches look back on this game, and Greg Fry in particular as the offensive line coach, the snaps are something to be concerned with. You really, it all starts with the snap. And if you can't get guys to get that quarterback and get that ball in the quarterback's hands timely, then it really throws off the entire offense. You get behind schedule, just like they did that series, and now they're coming out to punt. Again, you just have to be able to snap that ball consistently for this offense to really get going.
The Garnet team dialed up pressure, and Trey Lawson got there and bottled up James Blackman for what will be considered a sack here. So as you mentioned, Corey, Logan Tyler will be back to punt almost from the goal line. Heels up to it.
Trey Lawson on that sack there. He's been one of those players that have kind of been gamers. When you turn on the tape and watch him scrimmage, he just shows up every single time. I think for a player like him, he's got to be able to be consistent during the course of every single practice, being consistent out there. But when it's scrimmage time, he's one of those players that kind of flash on you every now and again.
Cyrus Fagan covers up the muff punt from DJ Matthews. And Fagan gives the Gold team really good field position. Theoretically.
Sheffield on the carry.
Little reverse on that play. I think at this point, there's been so many reverses. It's a part of everybody's offense. I don't think you even call it a trick play anymore. It's just part of the.
And another big play there. Jaquez Patrick, haven't called his name in a little while. Spun down near the 20. And now bouncing off a tackle and coming back the other way. He'll be blown dead around the 17-yard line. Another snap issue there. Blackman to throw, and that ball is nearly picked off in the corner. It's Kyle Myers with the coverage. So 3rd down and 8 left here with 1:23 in the 3rd quarter. Blackman to throw, and the pocket collapsed on him. So it'll be 4th down here for Gold team.
Arthur Williams got in there on a sack that time.
Arthur Williams, the defensive tackle out of Waycross, Georgia. Made 13 appearances last year. So an appearance in every single game. 8 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. 1.5 sacks. And also worked himself into the punt formation. But here with stake on the line, you got to go. And a timeout's going to be called by the Gold side. So they'll have a word with their offense. 4th and 12 here in the red zone, or just outside of it. DeAndre Francois, you see they're looking on, having a word with the now sophomore quarterback in James Blackman. Blackman's been very complimentary of Francois in his development as a quarterback.
He has, and that's what you want. You want to be able to go out there and compete as quarterbacks, and that room has to have that competition in it. But you also have to go out there and help one another, and that's part of being a family. Understanding that that guy that sits next to you in that meeting room is also going to help this team get better. And I think they root for one another, and that's always a positive on a team. So you have guys that root for your success, because in the end it makes the team better.
So we'll see what this team looks like when DeAndre Francois reinserts himself into that quarterback race, but a good mentor for James Blackman. 4th down and 12. Gold team down 15. Blackman to go to the air. Got a man on the near side. And that ball knocked incomplete. But a flag is down.
Flag on the play.
Might they get Levante Taylor here?
Got there a little bit early.
There's 2 fouls, one against each team. Holding, offense number 66. Pass interference, defense number 28. Those penalties offset, replay 4th down.
So they will replay the 4th down since the pass interference and the holding offset. We'll take another look.
He just couldn't get his head around, couldn't find the ball there. Just caused himself to get in good in bad position.
So the Gold team will have one last shot here at the end of the quarter. Alas, we found a way for the clock to stop. And again, don't have to go to the goal line. You get to the 10, and that's a first down. Blackman to throw again. And that ball is knocked away and incomplete. To Callan Brooks, knocked it away, and the Garnet team out front, 28-13, quarter number 4. Asked him to be their new head coach, and then after 1 year in Eugene, you are looking at your new Florida State head ball coach, complete with visor. DJ Matthews on a jet sweep, barging ahead.
I think Matthews and his ability to play at a high level in that receiving core, and there you see it. You see him get open and make those cuts, and he just those explosive plays that we look forward to seeing from him for a long time to come. We get a chance to see that on that play.
First down and goal. The Gold defense standing up strong here on the goal line.
Woodby and Durden all over that play. Didn't have much of a chance. The penetration by that defensive line right off the ball, it was the thing that made that play a non-factor.
Tell you what, a lot of credit to Amari Gaynor. When things were going haywire, he was the recruit that stayed and enticed other recruits to either uphold their commitment or to reconsider Florida State while they were still trying to figure things out. Jaden Woodby hadn't even been offered. Willie Taggart comes in, offers him 8 days later, pen to paper. Jaden Woodby is a Seminole, and he's somebody that a lot of people are going to be excited about, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the size and the strength of that entire, you look at the entire recruiting class that's coming in here, they fit this system perfectly. I don't know if that's what Jimbo was going for when he was here, but those guys have just kind of stepped in, those guys that came in early, and Jaden and Amari Gaynor, and really taking advantage of this opportunity to go out there and get some experience on the field.
Timeout called by the Garnet side to discuss things. Again, stake on the line. You want to pad that lead as much as you can. You got a good opportunity here.
I don't think those guys are as much worried about the steak dinner as they are having to serve having to serve their own teammates. That's the part of it that can be a little bit make you feel a little bit bad about yourself when you actually have to go up there and put on an apron and serve your own teammates. That would be the incentive for me.
Gotcha. Hockman in the gun, high snap, and he'll float it to the corner of the end zone. Incomplete. He's lobbying for it. That ball knocked away by Cameron House.
Yeah, he just couldn't get those feet down. He landed on the line with his backside.
Same guy, Terry, also out of play. No need to lobby that time.
Yeah, that's always that tough play. I mean, it's a 50-50 play most of the times. You're throwing to a spot as a quarterback and hoping your guy can out jump the guy, and at that time he just missed his spot at the quarterback position.
So Coach Woody looking on. David Kelly, the recruiting coordinator, wide receivers coach here at Florida State. Part of Coach Woody's staff over there on the Garnet side, Cam Akers. And here is from Cam Akers, who's wearing 23, to Ricky Aguayo. A field goal attempt, but a flag down.
False start. Offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Movement up front makes that field goal a little bit longer.
Those are the things that drive coaches crazy. The procedural penalties, those are the things that stop drives, that cost you points. You can sometimes take the aggressive penalties, but those procedural things that just, those are the ones that you rack your brain trying to figure out how do you prevent them.
34-yard attempt. Surprise, surprise. He splits the uprights. So despite Brady Scott moving early, Aguayo still able to split the uprights, and it's a 31-13 lead for the Garnet side here in Tallahassee. Once again, Corey, Garnet doing a better job of staying on schedule, creating opportunities. They've been able to break one or two more big plays than the Gold side has.
You're exactly right. Those are the things that, you look at the bad snaps have primarily been on the other side of the ball, on the other team. And, it's those little things that add up to big losses. And this is the time when you kind of fix those. You can't lose focus. All of the pomp and circumstance that goes into the spring games, you still have to go out there and focus on your job and do your job to the best of your ability. And those little things will get you beat. And I think this coaching staff has done a great job of trying to harp on those things and understanding that you can't beat yourself. You have to go out there and play discipline and do the right thing.
And once again, the Gold team well behind schedule.
Your head drum major, Alex Arbider.
It'll be 2nd and 15 now from their own 20-yard line. Blackman with the ball on the turf, going to have to improvise once again, and he stood up for a loss of about 2 more.
And that's what you've kind of seen from this Gold team today. You've seen either the bad snap or the fumbled snap or the procedural penalties. It's just been kind of one bad mistake after another, and that's kept them behind the sticks. And so we're now going into a 3rd and 16.
And he'll air it out. And right there once again is Deontay Sheffield. This is a guy who's really staked a claim here today.
He has. He's had a really good game today. Made the best of it. Made the most of his opportunity.
That'll put him over 100 yards. Came into the quarter with 94 receiving yards. That certainly will get him into triple digits. Pressure got to Blackman, so once again, Gold team will be behind the down and distance.
Another sack there by Trey Lawson and Jalen Parker that we talked about a little earlier.
Blackman will screen it off. And that'll just be a minimal gain to Amir Rasul. So So 3rd and 15 now. Flag down.
Offside. Defense, number 53 with contact. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Jalen Parks called offsides. So that'll make it 3rd and 10. There you see DeAndre Francois coaching things up. Third down 10. Here's Blackman going to the air looking for Sheffield. And that ball knocked away. Another flag comes in. I believe that was Brooks that broke it up.
Levante Taylor on the defense.
Correction, that was Taylor.
Yeah, he was in good position there. He just jumped the gun a little bit. He was in position to make the play.
Defense, number 28. The ball we placed at the
A
spot
little
of
bit
the
of
foul.
patience.
Automatic 1st down.
Well, that'll give the Gold team a little bit of life here near midfield. Fake the handoff. Blackman looking to throw. Now he's going to roll out and run. Blackman picks up a 1st down, and the play will be blown dead just beyond the 40-yard line.
If I'm keeping score there, I give Christmas a sack on that one. But that's just me being a defensive tackle.
Again, faking the handoff to Rasul. Now looking deep for Gavin. Incomplete. Kyle Myers.
I'll tell you, those two have been in a battle all day long. It's been exciting to see those two players playing at a high level. Both of them are playing at a high level.
Gavin with a couple of catches for nearly 40 yards tonight. Now 2nd down and 10. Blackman stepping into it and delivering a throw and completion out to the far side. And that is a Darius Dent checking in for the first time today. Dent, the wide receiver out of Pahokee, Florida, one of a few early enrollees here in Tallahassee.
That's the throw that Blackman just does so well, putting it on a rope. You see the arm strength there. It's just, it's incredible. The young man just has so much talent, so much arm talent. He just shows you those flashes. That's what you saw towards the end of last year, just kind of putting it in there and not putting a whole lot of air under the ball, just putting it on a beat, putting that BB on a line there.
And this is how you get fans to buy into your program. That ball up in the air and incomplete.
Blackman's pass incomplete.
Hamza Nasruddin in pretty good position. But as that ball got knocked around, he might have stepped a foot out. Yes, sir.
Great initial defense there by Levante Taylor.
3rd down and goal. Hand off to Amir Rasul. And he stood up short of the goal line.
Levante Taylor is one of those players that my coach in high school used to always talk about. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but it's the size of the fight in the dog. He's not your 6 foot tall, premier corner when you start to look at his size, but he plays so tough. He makes you fight for every yard that you get during the course of the game.
Just after the snap to Blackman, heard some whistles, don't see any flags. But a snap infraction called against Corey Martinez. That'll back things up 5 yards and make this 4th and goal, a little bit more difficult. Or perhaps giving you more room to throw. Maybe it'll help things out a little bit if you're Blackman and company. Crowd getting loud here in Tallahassee. 3:27 left in the game. Gold needs a touchdown, and they need it here. Empty backfield. Blackman going to try to run for it, and he just had no one open quick enough, and that is where the drive will come to an end.
Again, the young guy, Jalen Park, just constant pressure. That's what he's done during the course of this spring, and he's done a great job.
So 2:49 left to play here in Tallahassee. And the Garnet team looking like they are going to put together an impressive performance here on the spring game. A beautiful day for football here in Tallahassee. And for what it's worth, you can count me in. I think these throwback end zones don't need to be such a throwback anymore. I like them.
No, absolutely. I think they need to bring them back.
I think they can stay as long as they want them to stay. And Hockman trying to air that ball out. Once again, looking for Ontario Wilson.
Coach Taggart kind of making his rounds around this entire stadium, just shaking hands with all of the fans here, students and fans from around the country that came today. He's just showing his appreciation.
Same guy, same side, same result. It'll be 3rd and 10. Under 2 minutes left in the ball game, and it's looking more and more like the Garnet side will be enjoying a steak dinner, and the Gold team will have to serve. And Willie Taggart continues his parade around Doak Campbell Stadium, making sure every fan feels as appreciated as they've made him feel since he was named the new head football coach. Stuff like that allows people to buy in and claim this guy as their football coach.
Absolutely. You want him to feel ownership in this program.
Short throw there, and E.J. Matthews will be spun out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
I talk about that ownership, and that's the one thing that he said the day he stepped foot on this campus. He's always talked about our Florida State Seminoles, our team. That includes everybody. That includes fans around the country. That includes these fans that showed up today to come to this stadium and give up their time and their treasure. That's what it means to him. It is important that this Florida State family recognizes that it's all about all of us. The collective is what he's been able to preach to this team.
Play clock runs dead, and the crowd comes to their feet. Final seconds ticking away here of this annual Garnet versus Gold spring game. And of course, the delay of game will be charged to the Garnet team because that play clock ran dead. A little Gatorade bath for Coach Woody. Oh, wait, no, correct myself. We're in Tallahassee. It's a Powerade bath. Why is it orange? Meanwhile, 10 seconds left on the clock, and it will be a 31-13 victory for the Garnet over the Gold. Bailey Hockman and company get the job done for Coach Woody. They'll be enjoying a little steak dinner tonight. And what a scene and what a night here at Doak Campbell Stadium. If this hasn't got you fired up for FSU football in a few months, I don't know what will. Corey, what a great night. Makes you proud to be associated with, part of, a fan of, whatever you want to consider yourself, this Florida State football family, as the Garnet team runs down toward the end zone, the throwback end zone, to celebrate with the fans. It's going to be one heck of a celebration and one heck of a dinner for them. And the Gold guys are celebrating too. Why not? It's been a pretty darn good night for everybody involved. There's DJ Matthews.
I think both teams will celebrate after this one. It's been a hard spring training camp. These guys have sacrificed, they've bled, they've sweated. All of those things that go into